I've spent many years building teams, and I'm going to share with you today the 5 fatal mistakes that most real estate agents and entrepreneurs make when building a team. I'm also going to share with you how to avoid these mistakes. The 5th one will not only surprise you, but it'll actually give you some hope. Number 1, they wait too long to make the hire. In other words, they're so busy that they actually don't have time to slow down. You should always be looking. It is your second number 1 thing if you're building a team. Always having time in your schedule where you're looking for people and you're not waiting till you're just so busy you really can't follow a good process and take your time and make a great hire. So the hiring process that I used, once I learned how to do it correctly, allowed me to spend time with the person, peel them back a little bit and get to understand them even at a deeper level. And the process actually help them understand themselves better, because it's just as important that they understand themselves as you understand them, so that you not only make a good hire, but they make a good decision on where they fit. Fatal error number 2 is not having enough candidates. In other words, if you have lots of candidates, it's real clear which one is the standout candidate. But if you only have one and you're trying to make that person fit, then you wind up making mistakes. You make your reach larger. You use lots of different sources. You're always asking people who they know. You're always looking around your own environment for people who stand out with great service that you think do a great job somewhere else. Might be your chiropractor's office or your doctor's office, but you're always looking. And once you train yourself to always be looking, you'll always have plenty of candidates. Fatal error number 3 is not having clarity around the role that you're actually hiring for. And the way to avoid this is to have clarity on what is the job description of the person that you're looking to hire. Because when you have that job description, you can then understand behaviorally who is a person that best fits that role. When we're not clear on what the role is, then we don't really know what behavior we're looking for that actually fits that role best. I think a lot of people get stuck on not having clarity around the role because a lot of times the role you're hiring for is not one that you would fit. If I therefore don't fit that role, I have a hard time understanding the behavior and the skills of someone who would actually fit that role. Fatal error number 4 is you not having the ability to recognize the difference between talent and non-talent for the role that you're hiring. What I mean by that is talent has a certain language, a certain attitude, a certain behavior for particular roles, and then also success leaves clues. Learn how to interview in such a way that you can actually figure out what clues that candidate is actually leaving you. One of the mistakes that keeps someone from understanding and discovering whether that person's talent or non-talent for this role is they get kind of married to the person. They fall in love with the person rather than seeing the person as someone that you're trying to help them self-discover, and you're trying to discover, are they talent for this particular role that I actually have available? Maybe they're a lot like us instead of more like what they need to be for the role. And so we just don't pay attention to anything else or any other clues that come up once we fall in love with that person. Really just trying to recognize the language, the attitude, and the behavior of talent for the role that you're hiring, staying at a neutral place until you can discover that. Here's a great way to validate the hire before you make it. It's an idea that Dave Ramsey has used for years, and it's a great idea. And that is to actually spend more time with the candidate. Take them out to dinner, take their spouse out to dinner, truly spend quality time in a non-business, non-interview setting. It's a great way to really discover the person because they're going to let their guard down just a little bit more in that kind of setting. Number 5, most fatal error, is that we don't have a clear and concise process that kind of becomes guidelines for us. Left to our own accord, we're not naturally have the ability to not really talk all the time when we're not supposed to in interview processes. We also don't really know what great questions to ask. So a great process actually guides you through really discovering who is this person. How has their life been up until this date? Because success leaves clues and so does failures, right? It also gives us a chance to understand their natural behavior because most people will not modify their behavior for long periods of time. They're just not able to. It makes them ill. They're not happy, and if they're not happy, they're not going to last. It really gives us guidelines and what I call bumper rails, like if you were bowling, keeps me in between a process that is a good process to help me and them self-discover if they're the right fit for the role. It also will give you a process to follow so that you don't jump in and if you're in a hurry, skip steps and just hire because you're in a hurry. In the beginning, honestly, it was 20 minutes. Let me tell you how great I am and my team is and why you should work for me, and learn nothing about the candidate. And now it's understanding that that process helps me do what's not natural for me. It's not natural for me to sit quietly and listen to someone and almost to the point where silence is uncomfortable so that they continue to talk more and I discover more about the person. It's also not natural for me to not agree with someone on everything or fall in love with them as a person. You have to have that process, and I'm so glad that I discovered that processes matter when it comes to this, because it helps me not make the mistake of putting someone in a wrong fit that makes them unhappy, costs me money and time and all of those things. So learning and having a great process is probably one of the best lessons I've ever learned. The thing about number 5 is if you do it and you have it, 90% of all the other errors go away. So as I shared, number 5 is going to give you hope because in the process, number 1, you're going to look at their past. You're going to see what clues have been left so far. How do they handle adversity? Are they victims or are they accountable? You're also going to check behavior because certain behaviors fit certain roles a lot better than other behaviors. You're also going to learn what are their goals and their dreams. And can I realistically, if I put them in this role, help them achieve those goals and those dreams? Because if I can't, they're not going to stick around, right? It's going to be one of the reasons I don't get to keep them. It really gives you a chance to dig deep into a great process and how to do references rather than just calling one person, but actually going deep and understanding from as many people as possible who this person is and how they behave in a work environment. Those were the 5 fatal errors that most real estate agents and entrepreneurs make when they're building a team. And we're here to help you not make those mistakes, but learn how to attract, develop, and expand talent when you get it. Be sure and hit that subscribe button so that you get notified as those videos come out.